Hi kids, tonight I will read a fairy tale from the Indonesian book Dongeng Anak Hebat Kumpulan Kisah Budi Pekerti. The Adventure of Pinocchio. Geppetto, an old carpenter, is exhausted. He is tired and sad because he has always lived alone and has no one to talk to. One night, he took a piece of firewood to start a fire in his fireplace. "Don't do it," someone said in a low voice. Surprised, Geppetto dropped the firewood and looked around him. But there's no one. He took the piece of wood back to put in the fireplace. However, he stopped when he heard the low voice again. "I beg you, don't burn me." Geppetto was astonished. No way a normal piece of firewood speak. Then, he decided to make a special doll from that piece of wood. Quickly, he went to his workshop. He took chisel and carved that piece of wood. Little by little, the doll begins to take shape. First, the face is made, then the stomach, the hands, and finally the legs. When it was finished, the wood doll jumped off the table. "Thank you, Mr. Carpenter," he said happily. "You are welcome. Just call me Geppetto," replied that old carpenter. "As for me, what's my name?" asked the wooden doll. Geppetto thought for a moment and said, "Your name's Pinocchio." Evening came. The carpenter prepared a small bed for his wooden doll. "You have to sleep, Pinocchio. Remember, don't leave this workshop. Tomorrow, I will take you to school." Geppetto then went to bed. But when Geppetto had just started to fall asleep, Pinocchio got up and took a walk inside the carpenter's house. It was then that he ran into a cricket who could also talk like himself. "Hey, little doll, Geppetto told you not to leave the workshop." "No, he didn't say anything to me." Pinocchio is lying. At that time, Pinocchio's nose grew longer. "Be careful," the cricket warned. "If you lie, your nose will grow longer." "I want to do what I want," said Pinocchio. "You know, children who don't obey their parents will become donkeys," said the cricket, advising him. However, Pinocchio did not obey. He reached into Geppetto's coat pocket and secretly stole 5 coins. Then, he left workshop and go for a walk under the moonlight. Early morning, at the edge of the village, the wooden doll ran into the fox.
"Do you have a few pennies for this poor hungry fox?"
"I have 5 coins that I will use to buy food," answered Pinocchio. The fox glared at the coins. He said,
"Would you like to have more money?"
"Of course," answered Pinocchio.
"Then come with me to the land of the lazy ones. There you can plant your money in a farm Then the next day, a beautiful money tree grows. You will earn 100-fold.
All right, replied the little doll as he followed the fox. Pinocchio then planted his coin in the place indicated by the fox. He also rested there to take a nap. But when he woke up, the fox was gone. Then Pinocchio saw a hole where he had put his money. The fox had tricked him. Embarrassed, Pinocchio wandered in the forest for days. There, he met a blue-haired fairy. "Good morning, Pinocchio," she greeted in a gentle voice. "How do you know my name?" asked Pinocchio. "I know all about you. It was I who gave life to the piece of wood that Geppetto carved," the fairy said again. "I know you disobey your father, right?" Pinocchio's ears suddenly grew like donkey ears. "In fact, the cricket have warned you." "No, he didn't say anything to me." The lying Pinocchio saw his nose getting longer again. Pinocchio finally burst into tears. "I'm sorry. I left Geppetto's house. I'm lost now, penniless and starving," he lamented. "This is the way back to your house. If you are nice and not naughty to Geppetto, a surprise will await you," said the fairy, pointing out a path. Pinocchio promised not to be naughty again. Then he went happily. The road is very close to the shore. There he met street children who think of him as a wooden toy. They threw Pinocchio into the sea. Geppetto was actually looking for Pinocchio. At that time, he met street children returning to the village. He asked them, "Have you seen my son Pinocchio? He is a wooden doll." "Yeah, he is swimming," said one of the children while laughing. Then Geppetto ran to the beach, got into a boat, and threw himself into the sea to look for Pinocchio. Time elapsed. Far from the shore, the wooden doll was washed away by the ocean currents. Suddenly, Pinocchio felt like he was being pulled to the bottom of the sea and was in the stomach of a giant whale. With a great surprise, he actually met Geppetto. "I'm so happy to see you again," Geppetto screamed. "I searched for you in the ocean until this whale swallowed me whole." "Come on, let's get out of here," suggested Pinocchio. "But I can't swim. My boat is also destroyed," said Geppetto sadly. I am made of wood. I can float. You will not sink with me," said Pinocchio. The old carpenter and the wooden doll climbed into the whale's throat and managed to escape. Geppetto held Pinocchio like a buoy. The ocean currents brought them back to the shore. After returning to his home, Pinocchio met the cricket. "I'm sorry, I disobeyed my father," he muttered. At that moment, both his donkey ears disappeared. His nose was back to normal. And most importantly, Pinocchio turned into a real boy. "That's a gift from the Blue Fairy. It's a gift for being a good boy," the crickets explained. Since that day, Geppetto and Pinocchio live happily. That boy is not being naughty anymore. Well, not very often. Hey kids, How the story? You see, throughout the story, Pinocchio took many poor decisions and eventually learned his lesson. He then does the right thing with saving his father. So, it's never too late to do the right thing. Okay? Well, good night. Bye-bye.